this is a sort of well-known term, aesthesia. In the Greek sense, aesthesia represented this sort of turning of content in the head. The content is turning all the time in our heads, which you watch, which can watch if you feel like, or if you want to. This content which is turning in our minds is called aesthesia. So the sensorium, we sense things, the world, we see things, we perceive, we feel, sort of desire, we determine things. All this activity of our mind is called aesthesia. But in modern times, aesthetics came to what a specific meaning of taste. And this is in the 17th century. It got in Europe, it got, which is a modern sense, taste of elites, etc. Aesthetics. Aesthetics is scheme like that. But this term is because there isn't very good term for the sensorium which we have, each of us. We can call it mind, but mind is such a trivialized term. To give a volume of this turning of content which is happening, it's like a timeline with content all the time changing. Some of the content is from sense organ, some of it is from internal sense organ, some of it is from memory, decisions and things like that. Derived from this term in Greece is this anesthesia. Medical usage came up in the 17th century of this term. Anesthesia is getting immune to, switch off. Or you don't feel pain, you don't have a feeling. So the feel of world is what aesthesia is about. Anesthesia is when the feel of the world is switched off, or is tempered with, like you have painless, you feel the world but without pain. And you have various impairments of brain which may lead to aesthesia with certain deficits. You may have aesthesia, but you may not have memory. Short-term memory you may not have. You may have aesthesia. There are medical cases of these kinds. But anesthesia is the absence of this aesthesia. And kinesthesia is what we are going to concentrate on. Is the sense of motion. Kinetics, kinesthesia is motion. And the dance works with sense of motion. Sports also sense of motion. So aesthesia is the way reality affects us. It creates an affection in us. Desire, things like that. And kinesthesia is what we can afford to do with this undergoings in mind. So we look at the field, and so we can say the field at least has following components. They are sensations. Sensation is a very vast kind of field. You can even sense a thought, or some idea can be sensed, or people can be sensed, things can be sensed. And we see, and sensation is a very vast area. There is, of course, memory, which is some kind of unconscious portion of the world, which informs us and informs our aesthesia a lot. Memory performs it a lot. And then you have this imagination, where we keep bullying, and then we have action. So let's look at the sensation. There are two kinds of sensation, broadly. One would be sensation which external sense organs are playing role. Right? Vision is playing role, touch is playing role. These are 5 sense organs we have. The object of these sensations are usually outside sense organs. They are in contact with sense organs. So there is external kind of sensation. And then there are internal sensations. For instance, pain is an internal sensation. Leg is paining, knee is paining. You can't touch it, you can't smell it, you can't see it, you can't taste it, you can't hear it. It's an internal sensation. It's something we simulate inside our body. And there's a relief if you do a little massage, or there's a relief which you get from pain, but that's a different process. It's a process done to the internal body. So there is a lot of content of what we call as internal body. The body is sensed, and almost all of it is not external sensation. It's internally sensed. We sense things. We have all kinds of things. We have sense of urgency. We get agitated with those senses. These are internal senses. We sense them internally. And one of the most important things which is sensed internally is movement. Movement is also sensed internally. This cartoon is we have a strip here. It's called a motor strip. All the motor activity is controlled by this strip here. And so some portion of people are mapped as science speaking. Which portion is responsible for sensing what? So if you go close to this, you can read those. Which portion is possible for what? It may be true or somewhat true. But if we look at touch, as a sensation, touch is a very fundamental sensation. It's second last to go, or last to go, in the sense when you are in medical situations. The senses are shut off. Touch and taste are contenders, which is the most fundamental or hard to go sense. Touch is one. And if we look at sensitivity to touch, different portions of bodies are differentially sensitive to touch. For instance, hand is very sensitive to touch, but stomach is not that sensitive, in the sense that if you have a hot needle and a cold needle, if you ask people to differentiate between which is a hot needle and a cold needle, bring them closer, our finger can distinguish even when they are millimeter apart or 2 millimeters apart, but stomach can't, or back can't. So this is a cartoon where the area is proportional to the touch sensitivity of a person. So lips are and tongue is very sensitive to touch. In fact, whole lot of things we eat, food, we characterize them not just in terms of taste, but also in terms of tactile feel. In fact, there is a lot of tactile feel in what you eat, texture of what you eat. These two, hand and tongue, are the most sensitive. Surprisingly, feet is more sensitive, but we have less use of it. And we only use for walking. But some people can cultivate. We've seen some videos where somebody sketching with feet, or doing writing very small microscopic letter with feet. So it's very sensitive. It can be cultivated. So the idea is that we have an internal image of ourselves. The tactile image, tactile portion of internal image is like this. It's somewhat like this. And so among hand and tongue, which is more sensitive, etc., I tell a little tussle between Punjabis and Bengalis when they eat fish. Bengalis think that tongue can take out the bones easily, but Punjabis don't trust that. They take it out by hands, or the bones of. But this is, Punjabis will appreciate this, and they use this. Fish eating is very difficult for Punjabis because they have to take bones out with hand. They don't trust their tongue. Now, this is for just for touch. We also have for visual internal image of orientation, of sizes, etc. What is what size? We have internal image of what is pure. What is, all parts of body are not equally pure. We have all this mucus inside us, and so it's sort of what we call as mannerism. The image we have, internal body image, is what actually gets sculpted in our face, in our bodies, in our postures, in our gestures. Internal image. There are people who can look at faces and tell things about a person. It's possible to do all that. So there is, among internal sensation, there are two kinds of, sub-kinds of internal sensations. One is which is related to body, the image of body. And other are non-body. So the Greek term for body was somatic. Soma. Soma is a Greek term for body. So usually somatic sensations are bodily sensations. And non-somatic sensations are like sense of time. You always get up at the right time. But there is a sense of time. You know time is now. There is sense of direction, which is a little bodily, but there is also non-somatic sensation, non-body related direction. And there are sensations of thought, ideas, a feel of even memory, something. It's not just coming through, the feel of it. These are non-somatic. They are very important for us. Then you have bodily sensation, pain, you have itching, tingle, such things. Sickness, familiar sensation, feel sick. All these are simulated internal. There are a whole lot of internal sensations which you have. In fact, the way we engage with the internal sensation is sort of a big engagement we have. Even if you're walking, we have left walk to internal sensation. Take directions, change directions, do this. We don't think about it, we don't sort of schematize it. But we have sensations about things. And accordingly we conduct ourselves and make decisions. Almost silently we make those decisions. And then if so we hit a stone, it pains. It really tells us that something wrong with we can't rely too much on our the sense of walk. We have to be careful, and we have to invest certain amount of thought and plan about it. And so we correct. So next time we don't sort of hit the stone. So this internal body and the external sensations and also non-body internal sensations, they are quite mixed up, and there are certain sensations which involve all the three. All the three, like flavor. It involves taste, and smell, and texture. In fact, if you close our nose, I mean, don't allow any smell, and don't allow any tactile sensation. We can't really distinguish between bitterness of a coffee or rat poison. Bitterness, we can't distinguish. It's the smell which makes us distinguish between them. Because taste are only six. And it's the aroma of coffee which sort of affects us to that, and that smell has different aromas. And and also a lot of food is sensed with texture. How you crunch it, what you do with that mouth. Those things are, so they define more of a flavor of food. Then these are synesthetic sensations, which are synthesis of various sensations, from elementary sensations to synthesis of those sensations. And they are non-somatic, somatic, as well as external. So one can look at a bit of look at sensation more biologically and historically. You can see in the beginning there was only matter, and then certain formations of matter gave rise to life. And this life had many forms, from very simple life like amoeba, etc., to human beings, etc. So many life forms are there, and they were in matter. There is experiment with what is experiment with touch. A piece of matter touches another piece of matter, and this touch leads to certain reaction in the two pieces of matter. So the billion things have touched in billions of ways in the past, and this touch led to certain affinities or certain disaffinities, etc. and out of which certain kind of selectivity, tactile selectivity is born, or desire to touch something and not touch something. And this sensibility is born in formations of matter, which are called one sense organ creatures. This one sense organ creatures is the entire vegetable kingdom. From viruses up to great carnivorous plants. They all have one sense organ. And they have varieties of touch sensibilities, tactile sensibilities. Whatever comes, they take something from water and pick up something, don't pick up something. This selectivity, tactile selectivity is there. When you do tactile selectivity, you do discriminations. These discriminations are a form of life. To be able to discriminate and act accordingly is what one can define life as. This happens in viruses onwards. So, the experiment which was done in a totally material world was consolidated as a touch organ, and billions of prajatis of vegetable stuff has come out. With it, you have this plant which, if you touch it, so it has sensitive-tactile. So a variety of experiments we did. So a tactile organ was experimented with, not this experiment perfected by vegetable kingdom. And the experiment they did was of taste. Taste is, even if you touch something, you must look at certain qualities of what you touch and react accordingly. So, vegetable kingdom did all kind of possible experimentations with taste, with rasa. It's the same rasa which will come in plants. It's not a different rasa. They did experiment with if you really want varieties of rus, you have to go to vegetable kingdom. You get all kinds of rasaya useful for. That's why medically they are useful, plants also. Because they really have experimenting with what can be called as taste. And then you have two sense organ creatures, which have tactile organ and a taste organ. This, once they have a taste organ, these are indriya jeev. These life forms, they are in billions. These life forms also that many, and they do all kind of experiments. They have, and they want to sort of not only taste it, they want to reach interesting things. So they experiment with smell. Smell you can reach food or other things. So they develop what are called motor organs. The plant kingdom for its pollination has to wait for marutas to take them from one place to another place for pollination, etc. But these people, two sense organ creatures, can swim through. And they develop sense of movement. Sense of movement is come from two sense organ creatures. And they do experiments with smell. Not only that they have developed motor organs, they also start coordinating between sensors, two sensors. One is from touch, another is from taste. And so they keep coordinating them. You get a third kind of, some kind of mixed kind of sensor in there. You also have motor activity. So if you really want to look at origin of dance, it's the two sense organ creatures who did the first dance. It wasn't really plants, because motion is in them. And these are real stuff. These are well known. I mean, these are not really insects. These are like amoeba and cellular organisms, multicellular organisms, not single cellular organisms, which do activity. They not only that they understand directions, they even use magnetism to understand direction, acidity, and gravity. They use all this. These organisms. They know how to handle gravity properly, magnetism, etc. They do many experiments, and the sense of smell developed. And then you got this three sense organ creatures. And these are the animals we are familiar with, like worms and such things. We can't see two sense organ creatures except in colonies, big clusters. But three sense organ creatures we are familiar, in which there is this, they did experiment with sight. They want to see, because smell you can smell only little distance, but see is like you can conquer the world, you see stars. So then the four sense organ creatures came up, and which did experimentation with hearing, like snakes. Snakes are four sense organ creatures, very significant. And they do like that. They, from this synesthesia of four sense organs, they try to create technology for hearing. And this hearing organ gets made partially in some of the four sense organ creatures, and fully then you have five sense organ creatures. And among five sense organ creatures are all these vertebrates and birds and things like that. They are like a family for them. Snake is still feared. Other look, just goes inside. Whereas these birds, etc., are like real family. And there the sixth sense organ is perfected. Internal sense organ, manas, in man. And so higher vertebrates like orangutan or dolphin or shark. They are very close to cousins of blood brothers of humans. And orangutan is like an count insects. So men are the sixth sense organ creatures. They have internal organ called manas. But then different people thought that these days, after so much of eras have passed, especially in South India, people thought that men have 7, 8 or 9 sense organs. in Tamil Nadu even 9. So you have manas is not sufficient. You have more organs like that. In fact, I was just in Kerala and somebody said that sankalp is a sense organ. That sankalp is praman, according to Siddhartha. Take a plant and sankalp is secure. Sankalp is a praman, so pramakaran. Even that is another kind of sense organ. So, but he was to go get a sankalp of going to Shibrimala. So, but that also is a pramakar. So, you can have 9, 10, 11 people, but those are theoretical. At least this internal sense organ, at least we have the sensations. It is involved. Manasis. Manasis is the thing for dance. The thing. When we do dance, we are manipulating manas. Manas is very chanchal. This dance is a very disciplinary activity. Though it looks like very free activity, because you are sort of routine, you are away from routine movements, it looks very different. But dance is the activity which reigns on manas in a very big way. It sort of controls it. Very controlled movements, artificial movements. Dancers too. They are not really. You really have to handle manas.
Between mental and mind, the two terms.
Yeah, mental and mind are indicating aesthesia largely. Feel, thought, thinking, feeling, and etc. This is whatever happens in our head. We call the mental mind. But here we are talking of a sense organ. If you have an object, this object must touch, like lifting it, touching it, and this object comes into aesthesia. The sense of structure comes into it, and sense of weight, which was a tactile organ gives us a sense of weight. Tactile organ gives us force response object. How do objects respond to force? That's why you have sticks now, like how do objects respond to force? That is what is given by tactile organ. So all this is given, you have a sense organ which is doing it. And but when you have pain, what is the sense organ? Which is contacting something called pain. So one imagines a fictitious sense organ, and the term for that is manas. Mana. And we'll see what is this sense of fictitious kind of sense organ, which is internal sensation. Internal sensation is when you say that I thought so. This earlier. Or sort of when you watch yourself, your mind, it is mediated by internal sense organ. You can say I feel bad in the next, you actually feel bad, and then you say I feel bad on top of it. So this is internal sense organ is involved, which is feeling your feeling. So you externalize the content which is internal to you via putting in this sense organ, sixth sense organ. So and manas is supposed to be very chanchal. It goes here, there, minds like small kid. So this is very playful. Most of the elders have taught that you have to rein in your manas, concentrate on something, sort of let it go within. So manas is conceived as an organ. Traditionally, much of non-European world, including Islam, has a conception of manas. Dil in Persian, qalb in Arabic, is conceived as organ, but it's hidden, it's internal, it's social. Nowadays, people say that the nervous system is that organ. But this is speculative. It's not something like neuroscience, it's speculative. So, to conceive of manas as an entity, in one of the Indian tradition, most of the Indian tradition, manas is conceived as atomic. It is atomic because manas admits one action at a time. Most of things, you get two actions, two hands pulling this cup. This cup can afford to have many actions, and also gravity. 3 actions. This cup, this can afford. So objects have affordance for how many actions they are capable of taking in. Manas can take only one action. That's if it takes one action at a time, its states of manas are sequential. But manas is seen as material, as jada. And thus it is mobile, it moves in a body. It's atomic, which admits one action at a time. States are serial, like states of aesthesia, they're serial. But unlike mind, it can move in the body. There are channels in the body, they are called manovahak strot. There are channels in the body. And these channels cross. And they cross at 6 places in a big way. And these are called chakras. That's where manas changes path. It changes path in that. And there are actually bodies made of thousands of chakras. 6 of them are big ones. There are also hidden chakras. Some people think they are 7. Other things. So you have most visited Novaks, Throtsar, Ida Pingala, etc. You might have heard of this. No? The channels. So it again moves from here, and something may happen to them, and then you get infirmities. And much of Manchikitsa is based on these channels.
These channels are called as prana.
The prana has another
channels.
There are 7 channels in the body. One is a channel of breath. And other prana, there are vayu channels are there. There's 5 kind of vayus. 5 or 25 or 8 or many vayus are there. Vayus are responsible for pain, etc. All those things are there. But they are channels. Body in the traditional conception is a porous matter. You throw something here, it comes out from the feet. It's all made of channels. And these channels are covered with something called tactile sense organ. But interiors don't have tactile sense organ. But only the outer surface of these channels and pores are there. There are 5 main pores, where you can take water, you can take food or breath, etc. And they pass through all body in various ways. So it's a very porous structure. It's like a sponge. Body is like a sponge. You squeeze it, all kind of things, chance may just leak out, but they don't leak out. There are stoppages, etc. So to imagine body like that was traditionally done by both Greek system and Indian system.
So in this, how do they place chakras? So how do you
Chakras are in Lohar. There is a channel for Rapta. For like there are other channels. Man has its own channels, which people think is nervous system, neurological structure. It has channels. So there are cases when suppose hand is imputed, that people feel contaminated. So one can go there. They are sukshma. Some places they are sthul, other places they are sukshma. Wherever they are sthul and sukshma, that's where marm is done. Pressing. So super massaging is like on these channels, on all the 7 channels. But for mental things, it's more like if you're not getting sleep, there's a way to get sleep. If you have a sense of moment, you press it back off that. So things are that. So there are methods by which you do marma. You don't have to touch to do marma. You just do it from a distance. It works. And it's like presence of somebody changes your sensation of things, of yourself. If somebody is around.
Reiki and all, do they come in this?
And otherwise also, in day-to-day situation, we have this, when you get a sense of feeling wretched, you can't even connect with the world. Somebody comes and wretchedness goes on. And so, things like that happen. So, there are cases of pathological kind of sensations are more severe, and there is urgency to handle them. The pain and something, forgetfulness, such things. If you get too much of sensation of forgetfulness, you will develop mental infirmities. I forget things. You get this again and again, I forget things. And then you feel deficit. Feeling deficit compared to a normal person. So, most of these things are synesthesia. Synesthetic is together with many kind of sensations of sense organs. These sensations are mixed together and a combined sensation is made and simulated in the body. Like pain is a combined sensation. Pain is the first synesthetic, most familiar synesthetic sensation in the body. So you have a whole lot of, in fact the realm of sensation is very vast, extremely vast. We saw schooling and other things don't let us tend to that, but some people do tend to that, nonetheless. And but it's a very vast area of engagement of our aesthesia, mind, these sensations, variety of sensations. You don't attend to them, you don't think again about them, you don't do reflective aspect of it, but it is there. And all these sensations, like even these simple things like touch, taste, smell, etc., sight, hearing, they are fairly complex. Like I was recently searching taste, how complex is taste. Whether they can be there are 6 fundamental tastes. So, this is like sweet, salt, astringent, etc. These are there. So, for various reasons, people want to replace or have a replacement for sweet. So, you have aspartame, you may have saccharin earlier, now stevia, plant-based. So, they're there. Salt, people are trying to find a substitute for salt. Industrial world. No substitute for salt. Maybe potassium chloride, but that is poisonous a little bit. Taken excess. So salt is such a simple thing. Chemically is sodium chloride, but there is no substitute for it. There is artificial seawater. Some people do for marine life. But there is no chemical substitute. Largely because neuroscience, etc., that it is not just chemical which is acting. There are certain ion channels, the receptors. We have 6 receptors, 5 or 6 receptors, and they are there not only on tongue, they are on the top of your mouth, even in your throat. Some receptors are there, taste receptors. And so probably their reasons for this would be at a quantum level, and one doesn't know. So taste has been replaced, artificial. This is Nimbu, etc. There are industrial chemicals, etc., which are used, and it's so preservative also. Very reason so things are used. And sugar and substitute are there, except for stevia, everything else is very suspect. For salt, there is no substitute. You can Google on it. See what salt. And these are very fundamental. And they are also last to go. I mean, touch is there. Touch is the most ubiquitous of sense organs. And taste is the next, like the hair. Taste is your hearing can go very easily. In fact, there is no neurological research on taste because you don't have people who have taste impairments. You have people who are blind, you can study them. You have people who have hearing deficits, you can study them. There are people who have color blindness, complex kind of blindness, not really normal blindness. Astigmatism, directional blindness is there. All kind of things are studied. But you don't have patients or people who say, I have a touch disorder, or sorry, taste disorder. You don't have this. They say, old people, it's known that some taste sensitivity goes down after taking some chemicals, after taking a lot of drugs. Taste sensitivity goes down. And sometimes, but it returns back in 15 days, 2 weeks time. So it's not something you can wash off. And you can't say, I can sort of taste sweet or not astringent or not really bitter things. You will have to taste. There's no way. So, but these are interesting stuff. And each of them has a lot of details in it. Sight is a number of types of eyes. It's a 4 sense organ creatures. It's marvelous. National Geography or something you want to see. Those pictorially, a head with 1,000 eyes, head with the cubical eyes, cylindrical eyes, slit eyes, like your cats have, round eyes, all kind of eyes, eyes is a really fascinating thing. And insects with 11 eyes, your legs and things like that. So these are all experiments which life form did before the eye of something like a tiger is perfect, or eye of man is perfect, and then passed on to the next generation for that culture of tiger or man, or the eye of